People's Report. I'm Kristen Harris.
And I'm Zuehlke. Today at YPR, we'll take a look at some great places for you to go this summer and see how other kids are spending their time.
Our first story takes us to a dance studio where kids are winning awards at state and national competitions. Lisa Rivera has our story.
Every year, kids from dance studios all over Michigan come together to compete. There are routines from tap to ballet and jazz to gymnastics. But the best dancers at the state competition don't come from big schools in Detroit or Grand Rapids. They come from this small town, Chesaning, at the Bohaty School of Dance.
Rachel, you gotta work on that coming up. It doesn't look advanced enough. Okay?
While some of the dance studios in competition have as many as 2,000 kids, the Bohaty studio has only 200. But that means those kids work harder and do better than the bigger studios. And not only do the kids here win 2 of the 5 first place awards in the 13 and above age group, but they also win all of the 12 and under categories.
To be able to have such a small group of children take on these big ones and not only compare to them, but to score higher and to actually beat them and take 5 of the 5 overall winning awards, that was quite a big accomplishment.
Kids from this studio have competed nationally 7 times and are consistently in the top 5, winning at least 1 first place award each time.
It's basically our teacher, Renee Bohaty, for keep on pushing us, encouraging us for all the stuff that we do really good, and she wants us to keep on doing it and keep on trying our best.
Okay, lock your knees really straight, Danielle. Better.
She works us hard and she tries to make us do better every day, and she's really cool.
Lots of people would say dance is just for girls, but the boys from the studio have top scores on their physical fitness tests and actually do better in sports.
When I first started, I didn't really think that dance was a guy thing. I thought it was just the girls. But then I got going, and I really have a lot of friends now because in dance they've been showing me how to do stuff, and it's just made me a lot faster runner.
Way back in the old days, like Gene Kelly, and I love his tap dancing. Everything that I do is like really hard at the beginning, but after you practice a whole bunch of times, it really clicks in your head and you know it like that.
These kids, when they get to go to their first competition, they're very nervous and very scared, and after they get out there, they are so excited and they decide they're going to do the best that they can. They learn self-confidence and they work really hard and they get a lot of benefits from it.
When I first went, I was really scared, but after a while I kind of got better and better, and that's what just kept me in because I loved it.
I think dance has changed my attitude towards many things, and it's just changed my whole life. I mean, instead of sitting home and doing nothing, I'm very active, and it's just made me a lot better person.
So whether you're looking for a career or just a fun hobby, dance is something that will help you for the rest of your life. In Chesaning, I'm Lisa Rivera reporting for YPR.
Kids from that dance studio work hard, but it pays off at competitions.
Kids who take dance lessons do much better in other sports like football, tennis, and baseball. Sean O'Neill got a chance to take a closer look at a Major League sports draft and has this report.
Every year, professional sports teams select new players in a draft. Each team, starting with the one with last year's worst record, gets to choose new players. That's exactly what's happening here in Saginaw. These coaches are taking notes and making decisions on the talented new prospects for their teams. That's right, the new prospects here are all kids, as young as 5 years old, and they're all hoping to catch a coach's eye.
They check for the batting, the catching, the throwing, then they see what team if they want them or not.
The good players usually go first, and they usually look at skill and talent and self-esteem and team spirit, I think.
Right now at this stage, attitude is the most important thing. If a kid doesn't really want to play, if he comes out and just wants to horse around, then it's tough to teach a kid. He can have all the skill he wants, but if he doesn't really want to play, then he's not going to really go that far.
Unlike the professionals, everyone here will be on a team. The purpose of this is actually to have each coach be more responsible for selecting their own teams and making sure all of the teams are fair. Tryouts and draft are only the beginning of the season for coaches. We asked some of them how hard the draft is compared to the rest of the season, and most of the answers were the same.
This is probably the hardest part. The easy part's when you get the kids out on the field and get them throwing the ball and swinging the bat. This is really difficult because it's so hard to tell such a small amount of time who's really got the talent and who's got the real heart to really cut it.
But there was one coach who disagreed.
This is the easy part. Actually, most of it is all pretty easy. It's just the time, trying to get the time to, coach.
Even though the goal is to create evenly matched teams for good baseball, some coaches take things more seriously. In the words of a 10-year veteran coach, maybe too seriously.
I think the draft process sometimes gets a little carried away on a lot of coaches care more about winning than they do about having the kids learn, and it can get pretty heated sometimes.
I have a real young team. We only have 3 players coming back, so we're looking for about everything. Right now, I'm just looking for good ball players with good attitudes, and that's about it.
2 days later, behind these closed doors, decisions will be made that may mean the difference between a winning season and lots of losses. From Saginaw Township, I'm Sean O'Neill, reporting for YPR.
The Little League draft may not seem like a big deal, but the same coaches who claim to be there for the fun of the game have a very different attitude behind closed doors.
That's where we'll take you to the actual draft when we return.
All the major sports have a draft every year, and kids' sports are no different. But you won't see a Little League draft on TV except here. That's where Sean O'Neill picks up the story.
The Little League draft actually occurs in a small room here at the Saginaw Intermediate School District building. Based on the notes they've taken, the coaches go behind closed doors and in 8 rounds of drafting, select their teams.
Tom's got the first pick. If he wants to not lose them, he'll have to select them with his first pick. I'll take the option.
The process is much more complex than picking teams in gym class. These coaches had to keep track of a lot of players and their abilities, having only seen them for a few minutes.
How do you say that last name?
She's the one that got hit and said, I'll finish my at-bat. 281, 11-year-old.
To me, you're going to get the hand you're dealt. Just hope maybe you find a couple kids that have a lot of talent and good attitude that the other coaches miss. That's about it.
Some coaches had computerized the notes and sorted the kids by their scores. Brock was a bit less prepared.
Should I have another tryout?
In fact, he was worried that because his team was mostly new, they couldn't even compete.
I'm picking a whole brand new team, and we're going to have a couple teams here that ain't even going to compete in this league.
And remember the 10-year veteran who said some coaches get carried away?
He's going to pull his kids. He does not want him to play for Tom.
That's exactly what he did, even saying he would quit after not getting 2 players he wanted.
You should give the team to somebody else, I think. 'Cause I'm at the point now where I'm just tired of all the politicking going on.
Fortunately, the results of the draft are not just names on paper. They're a baseball team, groups of 12 kids who play baseball. And it doesn't matter how they looked at tryouts, what matters is how they look on the field.
Go, go!
Everybody thought we were going to be the worst team because we were real small, but we came out and just started winning them all because we have lots of confidence in each other and we're playing really hard.
9 out of 10 times, the team that works the hardest will win. And that's really what these kids have done. They've worked hard, and their record shows it, and they're also a great bunch of kids. I mean, you can't ask for a better team, and, I'm not just saying it. That's the way they are.
All right, John, baby!
Woo! The results speak for themselves. Near the end of the season, Rock's team is 14-2, while Brian's team is 5-10, which brings us back to something Rock said at tryouts.
You go by gut feeling. That's about all you can go by in this, and don't worry about it. Then whatever team you end up with, you play the best you can.
And in his team's case, the best they can do is an impressive winning season. From Saginaw Township's South Little League fields, I'm Sean O'Neill, reporting for YPR.
Rock's team took the league championship and finished 16-2 for the season.
Some of those kids may be stars in the big league someday, but if you want to find stars around here, the best place to go is in Bay City. Brent Augustine explains.
The best way to find stars in Bay City is in this brightly colored building. It was built with the help of NASA, and it is run by Delta College. It's called a planetarium, and that's where you can see stars, planets, comets, and even constellations.
I like it, and I think it's really cool because it's big, and I haven't really had a planetarium in my town before. It's important to have a planetarium because when you have a planetarium, people learn more about the stars.
Gary Beckstrom, the show manager, calls the shows edutainment.
Since this is part of Delta College, we're supposed to be educating people, right? Telling them about the nighttime sky. But at the same time, do you think you'd come back here if it wasn't fun and entertaining?
No.
So if you put entertainment and education together, you get the word edutainment.
One of the shows for kids is called Space Pirates, where two pirates try to steal the constellations, but a couple of kids make them put them back.
Fire! Yay! We put Orion back!
Most of the kids we spoke to agreed on their favorite part of the show.
When they had the stars moving all around all over the place was pretty cool. It was like a 3D type thing, and I've never seen something like that before.
When we go through the stars, it seemed like a little roller coaster, a little 3D type like.
But the kids also learned something.
I learned that there's the Milky Way was made up of a lot of different stars, like sort of fainted stars.
I learned that there was a lot of pictures up in the sky that I never even saw before, so I thought it was pretty cool.
This planetarium has some very special equipment.
This is a digital computerized planetarium, and that makes it different. We've got basically a TV tube that projects the stars overhead, and the entire planetarium is automated. We've got 4 computers that operate everything, that makes everything all happen at the same time, along with the soundtrack.
The planetarium also has some very high-tech audio equipment, including a 12,000-watt stereo system. That's more than 100 times more powerful than most people have at home. So with a little imagination and the help of some very special equipment, you can go flying through the stars and even learn something in the process. From the Delta College Planetarium and Learning Center in Bay City, I am Brent Augustine reporting for YPR.
The planetarium has a few different shows, and their schedules change from season to season. To find out what's showing when, call them at 517-667-2260. That's 667-2260.
We have to take a break, but don't go too far because we've got a lot more to come on YPR.
And when we come back, we'll be in the pool because it's way too hot to be out here.
With the development of inline skates, street hockey has become really popular. But on a day like this, it's just too hot to skate. David Halloran visited a place that has a solution and brings us this story.
A couple of years ago, these kids would have been playing on the street. But street hockey has moved indoors to the roller rink, and that move has some advantages.
I feel it's better than street hockey because the rules are enforced. Like in street hockey, you can just go up and check them.
In street hockey, there's no rules that when you play by yourself with just other kids, there's no rules. In this, there's rules, so you get penalized.
Hockey coordinator Mark Belko says that the real keys to the program are team spirit and having fun.
Well, the thing here we try to stress is fun for the kids. There's no pressure on winning. We emphasize through our coaches that it's a chance to learn the basic skills of hockey and coming together as a team and building friendships and that sort of thing. And that's what we're all about here.
I think the kids really get a kick out of playing indoor hockey because it gives them something to do during the week. It gives the kids an outlet, a chance to burn off some of that steam.
The game is played on a hardwood floor, and while the pucks are the same size, the roller hockey puck is lighter. Otherwise, the games are very similar.
It's a lot alike, the passing, even the skating. You know, you're on wheels here, obviously, but you still skate, and you got to make the passes, and you got to keep your head up or you're going to get plowed over. So a lot of the same things carry right over here to roller hockey.
The kids all agreed on some things.
Ice, you just basically you can get hurt worse because they like check you up against the boards, and in here if you check them up against the boards, it'd be a penalty.
Ice hockey has a lot of checking, and this one you're not allowed to check.
Of course, there are other reasons to prefer roller hockey.
A lot of kids play here of all ages, and a lot of people don't know how to play ice hockey, so they rather do this.
On ice, it's more slippery on your skates, but when you're on the floor with rollerblades, you have more grip on your tires.
I can't skate on ice, so I like this better. It's easier. It's more fun.
I'm not a very good ice skater, and I like this better because most of my friends play in it, and we're all on the same team and stuff.
Equipment-wise, all you need to do is bring a helmet and skates. We supply the shin guards, elbow pads, and other basic equipment that you need, even a stick.
Whether you need a good way to use your inline skates or you're just looking for a fun new sport, roller hockey may be the thing for you. From the Roll Arena in Midland, I'm David Halloran reporting for YPR.
There are leagues forming throughout the year, so call your nearest roller rink for information.
There's nothing better than relaxing by the pool with a cool drink and snacks. But did you ever wonder how potatoes are made into these delicate slices of flavor? Rachel Wilkerson visited the Better Made Potato Chip Factory to find out.
Potato chips. They're one of the all-time great snack foods. Today I'm here at the Better Made Factory to show you how to make potato chips just like the pros. First, you'll need some potatoes, a lot of them. In fact, for a 1-pound bag of potato chips, you need about 4 pounds of potatoes. Seems like a lot, doesn't it?
A potato is basically 80% water. We remove the water content, we remove the starch content, and we also remove the peelings.
First, get a truck to deliver about 50,000 pounds of potatoes to your house. And where would you find them?
We initially start in Florida on April 1st. From Florida, we go to North Carolina. From North Carolina, we go to Alabama. From Alabama, we go to Missouri. From Missouri, we go to Wisconsin, and then we come into Michigan. The major portion of our potatoes are bought in Michigan.
Wherever you get your potatoes, you'll need to wash them, which means you'll need one of these. This gets rid of all the stones and dirt. Once they're clean, the potatoes need to be sliced with one of these. You can't buy one of these from an ad on TV. A blade like this one slices over 3,000 pounds of potatoes into paper-thin slices every hour. After washing them again, to remove starch, you'll need a giant fryer like this one. It holds over 8,000 gallons of vegetable oil and turns out over 1,500 pounds of potato chips each hour. From there, you'll need a large shaker like this one. To cool them, shake out the smaller pieces and allow you to pick out the bad chips. If you want to flavor the chips, you can use a powdered seasoning. This stuff comes in large bags and you need to be careful not to use too much.
We use a seasoning applicator, which sprinkles the seasoning on the chips as they're put in the bag.
Once you've done all this work, you may as well bag them. The bags come in rolls and they're folded into tubes, filled from above and sealed before they're boxed and sent to a huge warehouse. From there, you could distribute them to stores. With the amount of chips that are made here, it might be easier just to go to your local store and buy them. From the Better Made Factory in Detroit, I'm Rachel Wilkerson reporting for YPR.
In this area, it's hard to find Better Made brand, but the same potato chips are sold around here with the name Made Right.
Of course, parents would say you shouldn't eat too many, but there are lots of things adults do that don't make sense to kids. We asked what some of those things are in the YPR Question of the Week.
They don't make any sense to me when they smoke because I never knew why they did it.
Make
Me eat my vegetables and fruits, and they don't have to eat theirs.
When my mom tells me to go to bed and wake up on the first call, and if I don't, I have to go to bed early the next night.
Dye their hair different colors and always wear makeup and stuff because I think they should stay how they are.
Always make you wear coats when it's not even cold outside, but when they can go out with them. It doesn't make any sense.
Ground us if we don't clean our room because the room is not clean either. They're just dirty and they don't get any punishment. They send us to bed early and they can stay up as late as they want.
Divorcement because the moms and dads get divorced. Moms or dads don't get to see their children very often.
Drink. I don't know really why they do because, sometimes they mellow out and sometimes they get really, really abusive and all that stuff.
I don't understand why my dad doesn't quit working when Mom tells him it's time for dinner. Like when he snowblows the driveway, he won't come in to eat. I'm surprised he doesn't get hungry.
They make me clean my room when I always mess it up anyway.
They tell you not to shout or something, but then when they're playing cards with their friends, they yell all the time.
The big words they use because they know that I don't understand them. I would have to say smoking because it ruins your lungs so you die.
If you have a suggestion for the question of the week or a story idea, tell us about it. Our address is Young People's Report, P.O. Box 250, Clown, Michigan 48420. You can also send us a fax or email us at WEYI@AOL.com. You never know, you might be our next story.
We have to take a break, but don't go far. When we come back, we'll show you one of the tallest, fastest roller coasters in the world. Every year, millions of people visit Cedar Point, and the park gives over 18 million rides each season. Some people say it's not safe, but in fact, it's safer than riding your bike. Derek Sinclair takes a look at one of the scariest rides in the park.
They call it the Magnum XL 200. It was voted the best coaster in the world by Inside Track magazine. But on a coaster that drops almost 200 feet and hits over 70 miles an hour, you start to wonder just how safe these rides are.
We've got an excellent maintenance staff that inspects the rides daily, and then we go through an operational procedure in the morning that we do a safety check to make sure that the ride is functioning the way maintenance intends it before the ride actually opens to the public.
From the control booth, one person takes charge of the ride, while each coaster has automatic safety features. Running them smoothly takes some skill and timing.
The controls are mainly dispatch controls that control the length of time that the vehicle stays in the station. And therefore, if this train does not leave the station, the next train stops automatically on its own behind it. All of our coasters are set up with what we call zones, safety zones, and it's designed that only one vehicle or one train can occupy that zone. And for some reason, if that vehicle does not leave that zone, it will not allow another vehicle to enter that zone. And it's separated by brakes. There's brake systems throughout the ride that will stop the vehicle in the event that that train ahead of it does not leave that zone.
Of course, the real test of a coaster is to ride it. The ride is great, but it helps to know there's a lot of technology making it safe. From Cedar Point, I'm Derek Sinclair, reporting for YPR.
The Magnum gives over 1 million rides every season and is a safe way to have lots of fun.
Even if you don't make it to Cedar Point, there's lots of attractions around here, and we'd love to show you them.
Unfortunately, we're out of time. Thanks for joining us, and have a great weekend.
Race ya! Sean O'Neill got a chance to look. Oh, God. So call your nearest Silver Link. Gosh!
In this area, it's hard to find this dumb thing is getting in my way.
And brings us this story. Whoa, I forgot. Oops.